You have to watch the new film 1001 starring Teyana Taylor. Teyana is absolutely incredible in this film. Without giving too much away, the film is about a mother who kidnaps her son from the foster care system. It's a coming-of-age film that highlights the mother Inez raising her son Terry in the neighborhood of a constantly changing Harlem, New York. The film highlights themes including love, family, gentrification in New York City, as well as the struggles and triumphs that Black women face. It really is such a beautiful story of love and struggle, and Teyana Taylor put on the performance of a lifetime. The film was written and directed by A.V. Rockwell. This was her directorial debut, and she absolutely crushed it. I'm so excited to see what projects she works on next because this movie was a masterpiece. I had the pleasure of attending a screening and a Q&A session with A.V. Rockwell last night, where she talked about the inspiration she had to make this film and why it's so important to her. Here's some of what A.V. Rockwell had to say about the film during the Q&A. 1001 is out on March 31st, and I highly suggest you go and see it. It's a very important film, and there is a huge twist, and yes, I was crying like 50% of the time.
So what inspired you to tell this particular story? Tell us a bit about how 1001 was conceived.
Yeah, so this movie, I think there were a few things that really made me want to tell the story. I think seeing firsthand the impact of gentrification on the Black neighborhoods in New York definitely had a huge impact because it just felt like we were being erased from the city altogether. And that was particularly devastating because I am a native New Yorker and I love the city so much, and it felt like, does the city not love me? Like, does it not love us? You know, so I think that was a huge part of it. And even more than that, I was really thinking about characters like Terry and Inez, people that have been fighting across generations just for some level of stability, let alone having a safe space, having a home so that you can from there just work towards the American dream. And so just to have gentrification be yet another obstacle that just takes us off our path, I felt like I needed to speak to it and really make sure that people had a much more in-depth understanding of what gentrification is and how it affects our communities. I think aside from that, I was also thinking about the experiences of Black women. I think inner city Black women especially feel so invisible and misunderstood in society, not only in society, but even within our own communities. And so I really wanted to be able to tell their story, and through Inez's journey, also say like who really is fighting for Black women, because you know Black women fight for everyone else, you know, but how often do we have people in our corner? And I was hoping that through her journey, you would not only see everything that she has to take on and how much she gives, and just understanding what that experience is for women, but also just kind of commenting on this idea that we want to be loved and not just needed. Writing it. So I think that for me, at minimum, if it is healing for mothers and sons, you know, that's a win for me. I hope that this movie does speak to, you know, I mean, to me, this story was about like unrequited love in so many ways, not only within people, but within communities, how people relate to the cities and neighborhoods that they live in. I think Harlem in particular, it's the mecca for Black history and culture, and to see it potentially being erased by gentrification and all the policies that set the stage for gentrification is really devastating, you know, and we're talking about a loss for Black identity and Black heritage. So I think just people gaining awareness of what's happening all across the country and in other parts of the world as well about gentrification and how it really works as well, you know, how they can protect themselves or be actionable is meaningful to me. So I think that, you know, those at minimum, if people understand that, if people understand and appreciate the Black women in their lives, especially like hood mamas like Inez, you know, because I think even within our sisterhood, there is work to be done, you know, and I wanted to be honest with that in this film because classism, respectability politics can also get in the way of how women like her are treated and viewed and why they are so unappreciated in our community. So I think if people can take away those things, that's a blessing. But I hope that you take away so much more, you know, and at the end of the day, this is entertainment. So I do hope that people had a good time. You went through the wave of emotions, you know. I think anything that you can take from this film in the past 2 hours that makes your life a little bit more better and enriched is open for me.